As the news breaks today that Cody and Brandi Rhodes are no longer with AEW, I think we're left with a lot of questions. Mostly, what does this mean for the wrestling world? What does it mean for Cody Rhodes? What does it mean for Brandi Rhodes? What does it mean for AEW? And what does it mean for WWE? Let's talk about it. As the news broke today that AEW and Cody and Brandi Rhodes have mutually parted ways, I think it is a bit of an interesting thing, especially when you look at the history of AEW and Cody Rhodes. Cody and Brandi Rhodes, for lack of a better term, were AEW. They were the starting point for this company to happen, and to see them leave is very almost sad. It had been reported over the past few years that Cody had grown astray from Kenny Omega and Matt and Nick Jackson. And I think you definitely saw that in the programming, right? Kenny and the Bucks and the rest of the Elite universe were kind of off doing their own thing, while Cody was kind of in a separate universe, not being involved in the Stadium Stampede, not really being involved in anything Elite since the pandemic really hit. And after a certain point, you could really tell that the fan base was turning on Cody, not because, his whole heel turn's going to be a work or anything like that, but I really do think at the end of the day, what Cody and Brandi want to be as professional wrestlers and as people does not mesh with what AEW has become. And that's not a slight at AEW or Cody Rhodes or Brandi Rhodes or anybody. People grow apart. Corporations grow. And we definitely saw that with these new contracts that AEW were giving out the talent. It has been reported that in the newest contract that Cody Rhodes had been given, EVP powers have been taken away and replaced with performance incentives. Now, I have worked for a corporation in which titles matter to people. And to some, they see that as a slight to where they can't hold the title anymore, and instead they're given performance incentives. And honestly, a lot of people don't like that. So I understand why Cody Rhodes would want to leave, especially if he cannot hold the same office as he had with AEW. Cody has, of course, been able to do a lot of great things with the company, like really drum up the community outreach program and build up the talent that was at AEW. Even in his statement, he mentioned people such as MJF, Jade, Darby, and a litany of other talent. Which, by the way, I do agree with this statement. Give Jade the Cody Vader. That sounds awesome. But overall, I really do feel like this is probably going to be the best thing for AEW and Cody Rhodes. At the end of the day, what I think a lot of people need to realize about AEW is that it is still a company. After a while, the newness of AEW is going to wash off. And honestly, I think it already kind of has. Mind you, I'm a huge AEW fan. But as the wrestling landscape begins to expand and people have options, sometimes those options may not include AEW. They might include Impact. They might include whatever ROH might become. They even might include New Japan in that. Or even, as reported, WWE. In case you've already missed the news, it has been confirmed by Dave Meltzer that the camp of Cody Rhodes and WWE have been in talks. And while some people may have the idea of betrayal, saying, oh, Cody's left us to go back to WWE, I think a lot of people misunderstood why Cody Rhodes left WWE in the first place. And it was for his best interest. And that, I think, gave a lot of people the power to say no to WWE. And while, yes, they were jumping to AEW, I think now we can see that the shoe can be on the other foot. And mind you, if Cody Rhodes does go to WWE, this is a major blow to AEW. Not in the sense of competition, but really as the sense of a company. While top-ranking officials leave WWE all the time, they're not as high profile as somebody who's an on-screen talent and a behind-the-scenes official. So where do I think Cody Rhodes is going to go? Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing him in WWE. Roman is going to need someone to face. Brock Lesnar is going to need someone to face. They need to freshen up the roster because God knows they've already made plenty of room for it. And if I could put on my tinfoil hat here for a bit, if this were to still be a work, shooty shoot work, brother, what is the most heel move than to go to the company that you have slandered for years, work there, and then come back to the company that you helped build after having a successful run with the other company. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could. You never know. I think the one thing we have learned now in the world of professional wrestling is that nothing is for certain, no matter what company you're a fan of, no matter who your favorite wrestler is. It's all out there. It's all up in the open. I think also the special thing to note here is that Cody Rhodes has had a very turbulent 2 years, as we all have. Not only did he deal with the pandemic, as we all did, not only did he deal with running a multi-million-dollar-a-year company, he also welcomed his first child into the world, and one of his best friends sadly passed away in Mr. Brody Lee. So wherever Cody goes, I hope he does the best decision for himself, his family, and his health. Thank you guys so much for watching this special breaking news episode. Let us know in the comments, where do you think Cody Rhodes is going to go? I hope you like, subscribe, follow us on social, and thank you so much for checking us out.